my own personal preference is Gerrard. I know Gerrard has got, had his faults as well. It's very easy to kind of gloss over the kind of first 2 seasons where we didn't win anything. But I think people forget, the state the club's in right now is pretty bad, but it was even worse when, Gerrard took over. We had finished third in the league. We had Graham Murray in charge for about 30 matches. Things weren't great. There was a big turnover. Celtic were a lot stronger back then than they are now as well. Brendan Rodgers was kind of at the peak of his powers, and I think Gerrard bought into it right away. To be Rangers manager, you've got to be a leader as well. It's not enough to just be a head coach. You've got to be a leader, and Gerrard was a leader. The Malmo result was a bit of black mark against his name, but I feel if he hadn't left when he did, I think Rangers would have went on to win the league that season. We probably wouldn't have got to the Europa League final, which meant I'd have been spared the most painful footballing moment of my life. So, sliding doors moments. Gerrard's mine, I think, is it Marco Rose, the boy who was at Leipzig, was kind of linked. I think he's quite an intriguing prospect. Beyond that, someone like, I can't imagine, if Derek McInnes knocked Rangers back in 2017, I can't imagine he's very interested in the job right now. I know he's one that will be linked. My own personal feeling is I think we might be looking at some sort of interim manager, to be honest, to just get through the next few months. I know what you guys, I've heard you guys might know more than me.
Well, me, Scott, we've certainly discussed this. I think in terms of the partners, again, I wrote my piece today. I think the danger for the board right now is they go out and make another appointment the fans aren't on board with. And that's not to say they should be led by the fans, but whatever decision they make has to come with the backing, the support of the supporters, because otherwise you just very quickly end up in the situation you're in this now. As soon as you hit a bump in the road, the punters, they have zero patience to put up with any more disappointing results. So I think, for me, in terms of who I think the supporters will accept right now, I think you're doing a very narrow list. Certainly in terms of who's gettable, I think Gerrard would be high on it. I think, again, you're right. I think you need to be a figurehead to be Rangers manager. I think he proved that that's exactly what he was. He was somebody who insisted upon a certain level of standards. Okay, it took a while for him to get to a point where he was in a title-winning position. But again, I agree with you that the club was in such a mess. It was never going to be a scenario, as I said earlier, that you're going to knock out the park in 1 year. It had to be done gradually, and that might have to be the case again this time. But I think Gerrard would certainly be somebody who the fans could get on board with. I think Derek McInnes, I think his time, I think his stock's on the rise again. And I think there are a lot of fans now who would just say, okay, just get a deal. We've ran through everybody else, just get a deal. I think folk are saying, well, if Tony Bloom and Jamestown Analytics think that he's good enough to take care of their project, and you look at everything they've done at Brighton and at Union St Gilloise, then maybe he's not a bad choice. And I think he would be a terrific fit right now for what Rangers need. Again, somebody to go in there and just set standards and not accept excuses that the club has been offering for the last, certainly the last few months, if not longer. And then you get, Sean Dyche, obviously his links with Kevin Thirlwell down at Everton. I can see him make that call, whether or not financially it would be lucrative enough to him. I think he was on that Overlap podcast a few months back talking about, he doesn't mind being that sort of guy that, clubs in relegation trouble go to when they usually get to this point in the season and they sack their manager and look for somebody else to come in and dig them out a hole. I remember him saying that it pays very well. So whether or not Rangers are in a hole right now, they need somebody to dig them out, but whether or not they can match up with Premier League managers' wages that's another thing to be considered. So and then listen, there's obviously Kevin Muscat, but again, I'm not entirely convinced, as you say, this. He's got a philosophy of how football's played. I think Rangers now need a leader of men. I think they've tried the tactical route. They've tried somebody that's got ideals and philosophies. I think what they need is somebody to go in there and grab folk by the collar and kick a few backsides and look to get, basically just have players accepting responsibility in the pitch. I think that's basically the position Rangers find themselves in. Listen, in years to come and seasons to come, once they've got a bedrock of stability and foundations put in place, then the club can look to do that. But I think they've just this season they've went to do too much too soon. I think they had to build gradually. I don't think they've done that.
Scott, I'm going to ask you. It feels quite remarkable asking this, but is Derek McInnes a realistic candidate for Rangers, given what he's doing at Hearts, given he previously knocked Rangers back in similar situations when the club wasn't in a great place? I mean,
I think it is. I think it is 100%, Douglas. And Derek McInnes, for me, should be Rangers' #1 target for the job. And ironically, it's a lot more difficult now for them to go and get him. They've had chances in the past to get him. I know you said he knocked it back that time, and he did. But I think circumstances were totally different. I think he knocked it back. I think he was almost warned against taking the job because of what he kind of seen once he'd kind of lifted the bonnet at the club. I don't think he felt it was kind of stable at that time. He had a brilliant job at Aberdeen, getting well looked after by Stuart Milne. I just think circumstances were different. For me, look, Hearts will know what to lose, Derek McInnes, obviously, and Rangers will have to pay a premium if they want to go and take him from Hearts. But I think they should do that, and if they do, Derek McInnes will obviously have a huge decision to make. And having knocked Rangers back once, personally, I'd be amazed if he knocked him back again. And that's him sitting with Hearts at the top of the league, with potential for a title challenge, with a club in really good shape, with Tony Bloom's backing, a really strong squad. But I don't care what MD says, for a guy like Derek McInnes, Rangers will still be a huge lure for him. And despite everything we've said about the hierarchy at the moment and the decisions that they're making, the club's in a stable position now financially, with Americans in, Andrew Kavanagh, Parag Marat, obviously the 49ers enterprises as well. So I don't think there's any kind of doubts about that now. It's just whether Derek McInnes is willing to leave Hearts and where they are just now to go and take on this mammoth challenge of making Rangers the best team in Scotland again. But I think he would relish that personally. And look, Hearts fans will no want to hear that. I'm sure Tony Bloom and the people at Hearts won't want to hear that. But no, it is what it is. For me, Derek McInnes is the best manager in Scotland out with Brendan Rodgers. So why shouldn't Rangers, when they're looking for a manager, go and try and get the best?